Welcome back to the Stack Report, brought to you by our very good friends at the Sackville Hotel in Rozelle. Today's guest, well, his nickname is the Grub, but you're about to find out he might be one of the nicest blokes in the NRL. Josh Reynolds. He talks to us about his rise to stardom at the Dogs, his fantastic Origin success and a couple of failures thrown in there too, and he's moved to the West's Tigers and how he's been embraced by the Tigers community. That's coming up for you right now on the Stack Report. Well, it's welcome to the Stack Report to Josh Reynolds. G'day, Josh. How you going?
Really good, thanks, mate.
Mate, thanks for joining us at the Sackville Hotel in Rozelle. The last time I was here with you, you were making your way around the two-up ring on Anzac Day. You look to be doing good things. How'd you end up?
Not the best, but you know what? That's what two-up's all about. There's always next year, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
It's the best thing.
Did Benji do a little bit better? He sseemed to be sniffing around the edges.
He snipped me for a few hundred, so he still hasn't paid me back yet either.
It's unlike you. I guess he's got a young family now. He's got to save his dollars.
That's very true. That's very true.
Josh, it's fantastic to have you to talk about your career today. It's been a frustrating 2018 though, hasn't it, with the shoulder? How is the shoulder injury? I guess recovering as you look to try and sort of get some game time in with the Tigers.
Yeah, it sure has. You know, it's you're in the pre-season, you think a million things, good things that are going to happen, and you start the season well, and obviously the team's starting well, but then the captain's run the day before the first game, I tore my hammy, and I was pretty devastated because it's different. Like I think some people take footy as a bit of a job, which is fine. Like it is. If you're good at something, you're going to do it. But I actually really enjoy playing the game, and that's probably what sort of gets to me the most. And then sort of got through that, and it made it a bit easier that the boys were going really good.
Yeah.
Which helped. It does help because everyone's happy and buzzing around the place, and then played one game and done my shoulder, and been out for another month. So it has been frustrating, but I actually am a big believer in everything happens for a reason. So I really think hopefully I can bring plenty of energy and enthusiasm for the last back end of the season.
Yeah. Well, because it's always that critical time, isn't it? Twofold. One, over Origin, where teams are missing a lot of their big stars, and we're approaching that period. And then to have that freshness at the end of the year, is there a real sort of feeling of blessing in disguise almost?
Yeah, well, it could be.
Yeah.
I'll let you know next week or a couple of weeks when I play. But no, it is. And if you probably talk to anyone who's played a few years in the NRL, the midsection of the year is the hardest because you do lose players and. You might get some newer blokes coming in, which is good. They get to play and whatsoever. But also as well, the period when Origin's over and those players do come back, they're pretty burnt out. It is a tough time, because they're playing those extra games and Origin's just a massive. It's not just the game; it's all the emotion involved and it sort of just takes the out of you. So yeah, the middle section of the season is definitely the hardest, and that's when I'll look to inject myself.
You mentioned before your emotional connection with the sport, and I want to go back to the beginning, sort of growing up. You don't see it now as just a job. That's much more than that. What was it that you loved about the sport when you're running around as just a junior?
When I was young, I think it was more about just being around my mates.
Yeah.
It's and I suppose it could have been any sport, but mine was rugby league. My dad and my grandfather they all loved it, so I was always going to be around it. But yeah, when I was young, I was the same. I used to be a really big supporter. I used to love Freddie Fittler, so I was a bit of a Roosters supporter, and I'd want to go to every game and I want to be a part of everything. And it's probably a bit how I am now. Instead of being a supporter, I really love playing it, and it's just always not that that's all I ever seen that I was going to do, because I wasn't necessarily the best player going around as a kid, and I had to work on heaps of things, but it was something I always wished to do, and I'm lucky enough to do that now,
It seems to me as well, so many young guys coming through the ranks, it's just a question of how big they are physically. It's almost like a race to get on those rep teams as how imposing you are physically. Were you a physically imposing player?
Oh, yeah. Look at me now.
No, you might have been this size then.
You said I look skinny before.
You're looking lean.
Nah, it is hard when you're that bit younger, I reckon, because like you said, if you are big and strong, it helps, obviously, because you're just going to run over people, obviously. But, sort of for me, it was more about doing that bit extra work, maybe, I guess, and trying to outsmart them. And I think, when I was younger, I was always a pretty good trainer. I think that's half the battle when you're young.
Yeah.
Because there's a period in your career where it's a bit of a crossroads, you get to that age where, you either stay in school or you leave and get a job, but at the same time you're going to be training pretty much part-time / full-time with the 20s or with reserve grade. So that was probably one of the toughest times in my career, I reckon. Like
trying to make that decision.
Yeah, not even the decision, but just doing it. So like I'm a plumber by trade, so no sob story, but like you get up at 5 o'clock, go to plumbing till 3. Be at training by 5, finish at 8. Like it's a long day, and then you sort of just got to hang in there. And then I think that's where probably a lot of the players that had way more talent than me might have dropped off. But I always sort of had that little bit of drive in me, and I reckon that sort of helped me get there.
Yeah, it seems to me, having sort of covered sport for a while across a range of different sports, that sort of period between sort of 16 and 20 where your mates are off having a great time, trying to have new experiences, and you're willing to make the sacrifices is pretty pivotal. Was that the case for you? Like you just were willing to make those sacrifices?
I definitely think so. And it is hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when you are young and there's all those little house parties to go to. Miss out on plenty of them. But then again, it's not like you don't have a life. You got to find the balance. But you got to probably make a decision and realise what's more important. And I think a lot of people, sadly, with all the talent in the world, make some bad decisions and their life goes the other way. But then again, there's those guys that want to work hard, train hard, and you're always going to have fun. Like now, people say, oh, you don't really ever get to have fun. But don't get me wrong, if we have a big win on a Friday night, we have a couple of good times together.
What's a good time together involved, Josh?
Oh, just go and have a coffee and a couple of waters with the boys. So it's good.
So you're talking about the period in your career where you're grinding, you're trying to make it. Was there a moment where you realised, hey, this is actually going to be a career path for me? Whether it was selection for a particular team or a game where you played particularly well?
So I played 2 years in Premier League, and I reckon that sort of set me up because I wasn't ready out of 20s, that's for sure. Like I wasn't big enough. I think I was about 75 kilos, wringing wet, and I just wasn't ready. Some guys are, some guys are ready out of 20s, but even in my mind, like I just wasn't ready. And the 2 years in Premier League were really good for me because I had some really good people around me as well who had played plenty of first grade who helped me. And then, luckily enough, I was playing some okay footy in Premier League. I was actually playing in the halves and then Mick Ennis hurt his neck really bad and big Jimmy Dimmick said, do you want to play hooker? And in my head I'm going, can I really play hooker? Like first grade, I haven't even been playing, but you're not going to say no. So, and then I got luckily enough to debut that year against the Raiders.
Yeah. How big an influence was Jimmy Dimmick coming through the ranks for you? He was a massive assistant coach at the Dogs for years and years.
Yeah, he was. He's really good for me. He's probably the hardest person on me, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, out of everyone.
He seems so gentle.
Oh no, he's a straight shooter.
Yeah.
But that's probably what you want because a lot of the time, you have people, how do I say it, blowing a bit of
smoke?
Yeah, up. But and that's good in a way. Sometimes give you confidence, but sometimes it's not the best thing for you. And he was always pretty straightforward with me, and always in a good way, constructively helped me with my defence a lot throughout the time. And we've become good mates now. And I can after games he'll message me if I get trampled or something and say, "See, you should have done this" or whatever. So, but no, he was really good for me.
What were your first impressions of Des Hasler?
Yeah, well, he was. When I first actually met him, he hadn't been at the club very long, and I was playing. As soon as he come, I was playing Premier League, and I just didn't think I'd really be a part of the first grade squad just yet. Anyway, I was in the top 25, but I wasn't part of it. I didn't think I'd be a part of the starting 18. And then he called me into his office one day and weirdly just said, "Mate, I want you to be the 5'8" of his team." And mate, that was probably the moment that. I don't know. I wouldn't say changed my career, but it really hit home that he backs me. And it was cool.
How'd you react? Were you like, "Why? Are you sure?"
yeah. In my head I was, but I was trying to be confident.
Yeah.
Nah, but because they had brought a few players too, they had brought a few other players, like Trent Hocko. They just brought him and Chris Keating, and so I just thought I'd probably sit in the ranks and below them and just wait for them. But he sort of said that to me, and then from then on, mate, I just tried not to look back, as you do, and now luckily enough, I've played since then. I think it's my eighth or 8th year of playing first grade as a 5'8". So yeah, he's made it's people have their opinions of him, and he is what he is. But I can never take away what he gave me, and I'll always respect him for that.
What's your opinion of him?
Yeah, I think he's great, to be honest. He's hard. He's hard to deal with sometimes, but I am too. I'm hard to deal with. Everyone's probably hard to deal with at stages.
Good bosses tend to be.
Yeah. But you know what? He always wanted what was best for you, and I think at times for me it was because I'm not the most structured player, so it was good that he really put a bit of structure into my game.
Yep.
And then, it was just about me finding that balance of unstructured and structured play, and yeah, people. I suppose all Doggies fans out there will bag him and whatever he's done, but while we were there, a lot of the boys will say that he wanted what's best for that team at that time.
Well, because you guys enjoyed, without winning a premiership, phenomenal success for a sustained period. What was it like to be part of a club that was not invincible, but my God, you guys took some serious effort to beat during that sort of 4 or 5 year period? Yeah,
it was definitely a culture we built there, mate. But you got to look at some of the players we had, players like James Graham and like Mick Ennis and Frankie Pritchard. We had all them in one team, and you look at Mick Ennis and James, they'll do anything to win, and me being a part of that, it just made me be like that. It makes you want to be like that.
Is it infectious?
Really
like
100%.
That?
Yeah, definitely. If you got a team there that's just hungry and want to win for your mates, it's weird. Teams can say I'll do anything for their mate, this and that, but will you really?
Yep. And
there was things in that year that some of the boys done for each other that was pretty phenomenal, mate. There was some great memories and things I'll never forget. Like you said, we went through a really good period there, and it's a great feeling to be a part of.
I think it's really easy sometimes to isolate what great talent is. Everyone knows Jonathan Thurston's an amazing player. Ditto Benji Marshall, amazing talent. During your time at the Dogs, who was the best teammate? Because that seems to me harder to pin down from the outside.
Yeah, that's a tough question. A few blokes will probably get a bit angry at me. Nah, I think.
Why are you guys always so sensitive with that stuff? You can pump someone up without.
I just mean there's so many of them.
Yeah, right.
For me, Mick Ennis, honestly, just as a person, a player, a leader, you won't find anyone better. Because there's, that bloke walking across the road there, Tigers fan probably, he'll probably say he hates Mick Ennis.
Yeah.
And probably everyone that watches him probably did. But you ask me, ask anyone who's played with him, they love him. You ask, he's the best. He's honestly the best family man I've ever seen off the field, and the nicest bloke. One of the nicest blokes I've ever met, and I reckon that's what it's all about. You walk over, you cross that white line. You're not there to make friends.
Yep.
And he's probably personifies that, and I just, I'm his daughter's godfather. That's how close I am with him. You know, so he definitely, and just some of the things he used to say to you before a game. Honestly, it was bad for me because I'm pumped up as it is, and then he pumped me up even more, and I'd go out there and want to rip someone's head off, but in a way, he's just probably the perfect teammate.
Well, he kind of mirrors you in one way. So he came on this podcast, and I spoke to him about the fact that he had this reputation as being disliked, similar to exactly what you've just touched on. But my dealings with him, I was always blown away with what a nice bloke he was. I remember after he got in that dust up with Hindmarsh, I had to go and doorstop him, and I thought, oh God, he's going to hate this. And he's so polite and so well spoken. I was like, oh, geez, what a nice bloke. He let me off the hook. It's similar for you. You've got the nickname Grub, but I think anyone who's had any dealings with you would recognise you're such a nice bloke. Can you tell us how you got the nickname Grub first of all? Maybe the first sort of.
Thanks for that, mate. By the way, nice bloke.
Well, I'll pump you up then and ask the uncomfortable question.
No, it was actually Jimmy Dimmick again. Weirdly enough, it's nothing. It's just that it was that old footy movie that came out. I don't even know the name of it.
Any Given Sunday, maybe?
No, like an Aussie one.
An Aussie one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was about rugby league.
Yeah, with Arndo, maybe? Yeah.
One. So the main character, I forget his name, he was the captain, I think it was of Newtown. Was it about Newtown?
Something
like that, anyway, yeah. And he was, I think he was a bit of not the cleanest player or something. And I think his nickname on the show was Grub. So And then Jimmy just called me that. He said I look like him a bit too, but I look nothing like him. So, and that's honestly where it come from.
And it's stuck.
It's just stuck.
Is it annoy you, or do you kind of embrace it?
Nah, it doesn't worry me at all, mate. You know, like, it's funny, you know, like, if you ask my mum, she hates it. But, what do you do, you know? Like, it's a my nickname before that was Bones. So, like, being skinny. So, I think I'd rather that than being Bones. But you know, you get little kids who say it, and they don't think of it like that, you know. Like, it's just the name. It's just something that, you know, tag with you, and mate, you got to have thicker skin than that to play rugby league. Unfortunately.
A quick break to thank our friends at the Sackville Hotel in Rozelle. Without them, this whole project is not possible. If you're enjoying this podcast, there's a good chance you'll probably enjoy our back catalogue too. The likes of Gordon Tallis, Mick Ennis, Jared Waitley, Tim Horan, the list goes on and on. Do us a favour, subscribe, rate, review, wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Spotify, Whooshka, iTunes, wherever. But for now, it's back to Josh Reynolds. You got a particularly thick skin to play Origin, and you got your debut in 2013, but not everything went according to plan. What happened in your Origin debut, Game 1, 2013?
I was on fire. Absolutely on fire. I sat on the bench the whole time.
What was that like, to sit 80 minutes on the bench in Origin? Were you
so weird, man.
Yeah.
I was that excited, that pumped, and it just didn't happen. I don't know, like, it was a funny one, wasn't it? You know, like, but Loz did say to me before it that he wasn't sure where he was going to put me on or when, so it was a bit of a hard one. I didn't know what to do. I think I warmed up about 35 times and was just waiting to get on there, but yeah, it just wasn't meant to be.
Was it a weird feeling after the game?
Nah, like, mate, I'm like, it was, don't get me wrong, but you know, like, it's just, you just got to take it in your stride, hey?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do, come out and say, oh, he should have put me on and kick stones, and, you know, that's just not me. But then, luckily enough, you know, I got to play the next game, and from then on went and played, you know, 4 or 5 more, so, and I can't complain. Like, even just to be put in the picture for Origin is pretty special, and to get that Blues jersey was a massive honour in itself, so definitely a weird experience, but it's something that, it's definitely something I won't be telling my kids, that's for sure.
One thing you might be telling your kids is about 2014 and finally breaking that Queensland hoodoo. Finally, after so many years, to knock over an incredible Queensland team. How special was the bond in that Blues squad?
Yeah, it was something different, you know. Coming in, being the half for the Blues with Trent, that in itself was daunting for me, because, you know, the whole thing about the halves for the Blues, it's all everything's about, isn't it? A lot of the time, you know, it's that whoever loses, you know, PC got blamed for years, and it's not even his fault, but like, it's always that, you know what I mean? It's always that Blues halves, and so there is pressure straight away, and sort of Loz came up to both me and Hocko and said, look, boys, I'm just going to put it all in your hands. And it was weird because we've come from like Des, who's really controlling and controls everything, so we just sort of listen, you know, play the game plan that he says, and it's pretty easy, to be honest, because he does everything. It's like you're spoon-fed. Yep. But then Loz, on the other hand, come out and said, look, boys, I'm going to get you to run all the meetings and talk and do all that. And we just looked at each other and gone, yeah. You know, like, it was weird. So it was hard in itself. But then the group of guys we had, it was just made it easy. You know, like, we'd stuff up. We'd go up there. We'd talk about it. We'd stuff up every now and then. Everyone would just laugh. You know, it was. I don't know, mate. There was a bunch of blokes there that, once again, like I was talking about before with the Dogs, that just wanted to play for each other. Yeah. And mate, that's no one can ever take what we done off us, and that's something I'll always remember.
Well, and to be so close, you know, because obviously you need to win 2 games to win the series, and it was tight the whole way through. Especially after such a streak from them, what was it like to be in the eye of the storm? Like, the pressure, the expectation. You know, New South Wales fans desperate for you to finally get it done. It's
unbelievable, hey. Yeah. Like, everything to do with it. It's actually it's so fun at the time, great experience. But gee, it's like, rugby league's a roller coaster. This thing's the fastest one you'll ever jump on. Like, honestly, I remember that first game at Suncorp, and, you know, everyone says, oh, like, you know, we need to attack better, this and that, but it's nothing to do with attack Origin, honestly. Like, it's literally just about the and I hate talking about it because I don't consider myself an Origin player. Like, I played, but I'm not, like, anyway. But it's just that my experience there, it was just literally about showing up and just defending. because that game at Suncorp, they attacked our line, I think, 10 times. And, but the boys just kept showing up. But then when that bell rang, it was the biggest relief, one of the biggest reliefs of my life. It was actually a pretty surreal feeling. And like I said, it's just something I'll always remember and cherish for the rest of my life.
Went head to head with the best of all time, arguably, in Jonathan Thurston, and got his number. But he didn't necessarily.
I don't know about that.
You got to take it, surely. Take the wins where you get them. What did he say to you, in game 3, towards the end when it was getting a bit tight? Can you remember?
Oh, mate, he wasn't a fan of me, that's for sure. But that's what it is, eh? He's passionate, I'm passionate. They're definitely not used to losing, and by that stage, I think we had it wrapped up, and that's just what it was. And me being the person I am, I probably wasn't making it easy for him. But honestly, that's just how it goes, mate. And I've got the utmost respect for him. Like he said, I think he is the best player that's played the game, since John's or whatever. So I think for even me just to be going up against him and to just get that little series over him is a win in itself. But like I said, he's won about 25 or something, so he definitely wins.
He's got a few. 2018, who should be the halves tomorrow for New South Wales? Just a quick one.
I definitely got to say Maloney. He's playing amazing for Penrith. But I would have said Cleary before he got injured, but I'm not too sure what the go is with his injury coming back and stuff. But I know it's a bit biased, but I'd actually throw Brooksy in, eh? Yeah. I really would. He's just running well, and I feel if Maloney can set everything up and do all that kind of stuff, and Brooksy just plays off the back of him, I think he'd be perfect for it, to be honest. So, yeah, why not throw him in there?
Luke Brooks, a new teammate at your new club, the Tigers, and I want to talk about your departure from the Dogs to the Tigers. When you've made it clear how emotional your connection is with the sport, and obviously you had an amazing run with the Dogs. When did it become clear that you might be leaving and there was going to potentially be a new chapter? Because 2017 you did the deal pretty early in the season, really.
Probably when they gave me their first offer. The writing was pretty much on the wall there, and
massive unders.
It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, I don't know who gave it or what, who put it on the table.
Decision.
But it was pretty much, we're looking in another direction without saying it. And you know what, that was fine. But it was just a bit of a kick in the face because, I feel, obviously playing and whatsoever for the Dogs, I wasn't outstanding ever, but I'd done my role. But I was just. I think I always put the club first, and that's probably what hurt the most. And I never felt I would leave, to be honest. That's me being brutally honest. But like I said, whoever made that decision, it is what it is. But I just didn't think it would have went down like that. But I'll tell you what, minus leaving my mates who were there, because I'm so close with all of them, and a few really good people at that club. And don't get me wrong, they've done a lot for me. I'm so excited for this because I haven't really started. I have started at the Tigers, but my chapter hasn't started yet. Yeah. So I'm just really excited to see, what I can bring to this club, because I'm actually going to bring exactly the same as what I did to the Dogs. People say it won't be the same, but because I didn't grow up in Leichhardt or whatever, I'm still going to be the exact same person. And the reason I did have that connection with the club at the Dogs is because I went through the ranks there and I went through that. But even if I didn't, I would be exactly the same player I was at the Dogs. Yeah. So,
how hard was it for that season to I've only resigned from one job once where I had a 4-week period, and I just really struggled to go to work every day. How was that rest of that season when you knew that you were going to be going, it was done? How did you get yourself up? How tough was it?
I can always get up for a game, mate. Okay. I really can. There's nothing. And I think for me, you go out there and you honestly play for your mates, the blokes next to you, and they done nothing to me. They didn't make the decision. So I'm not a person who's going to not show up because of what's happened upstairs or whatever. And you got to turn up there every week, whether whether good or bad things happen. So I was always, it was a bit, sometimes I was a bit sad because, it was my, things like my last game at Belmore or my last game here made me think like it's all coming to an end, which sucked in a way because I had so many good memories. But I never had trouble, throwing on the jersey because I take pride in myself and my family, and I'm representing people every time I go out there. So I'm never gonna say no, I'm not doing this for them because of what's happened. So that was never a problem for me, mate.
We're recording this 2 weeks out from what we expect will be your return. It's as fate would have it, it'll be against the Bulldogs. If your shoulder's ready, what will the emotions be like taking on your old club, or is it enough time passed that it won't be that emotional?
No, it will. I reckon. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel, to be honest. I'll let you know in a couple of weeks. But I don't know. I think I just got to play it as another game. And that's probably a boring answer for you, but I really do because, like, emotions, I do have plenty of emotions for both clubs now, because I want to do the best I can for the Tigers, and everything I've done for the Dogs, you'll never forget. But I'm just gonna have fun. I think that's the way I got to deal with it, like come out there, play against my old mates, give them a little bit, as I'm sure they'll give me a little bit, and just enjoy it for what it is, because I think, if I overthink it, it'll just be a lot worse than what it is, and I just want to get out there and be me, mate. I'll just like I said, just have fun, and then after it have a chat and have a good laugh with all the boys about it.
Yeah. Tell us about joining the Tigers. How has the community embraced you, the Tigers fan base and the wider Tigers public?
Yeah, they've been great. They really have. Bulldogs are, they're well known to have like a really passionate and big fan base, but the Tigers they've been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Considering I've only played 29 minutes, they've been really nice to me. But it's been really good. They I don't know. I just hope they know that I'm raring to get out there. I've not just come here and got injured on purpose. But I think because I hope they know that I'm just going to really give everything I can every time I throw that jersey on, because I really am grateful for the opportunity I've been given here. For me to be one of the 5 captains of this club is a massive honour. I've never been nothing like that at any club. Yeah. I've always just been that. How do I say it? Probably the bit of a
energy
larrikin, a bit, not
yeah.
but and I've just been that next step down. But for Ivan to put me in that leadership sort of group, it's a massive, it's an achievement for me. Yeah, yeah. I know, and I do love it, and I've taken it, and I haven't taken it lightly. So I really want to show what I can do, but I've got to do that on the field. I've done everything I can off the field now. I've done a million promos and stuff, and that's all good. But it's time for my footy to do the talking, I think.
I saw an interview with Ivan Cleary where he was saying that the fact that they had 5 co-captains was evidence to him that, from what he saw, there wasn't a set culture and that he was looking for you guys to mould it. Is that what you saw as well, coming from somewhere that was heavily structured? Definitely,
and I think as well because it's such a new team, so many new players come to the club, and a guy who come from the Dragons, a guy who come from South, I got me who come from the Bull. We all come from different cultures, so that was his sort of his outlook on it. Like, he wanted us to create our own, and it's pretty cool. And I think we really have. I think, especially the boys playing at the moment, they've created a real tough, hard-nosed, or gonna be there the whole 80 minutes type of culture, and that's what you want. When the boys have beaten arguably the best team, Melbourne, twice this year. Not many teams can do that, and it's been on the back of our defence. So I reckon when other teams are thinking they're playing us, they're going to know they're going to be in for a long, hard 80 minutes.
Yeah. How does Ivan compare to Des? One more on Des.
2 totally different ends of the scale. Like, both great, but just Des is very intense and nails everything to the milli, everything to the millimetre. But then, I don't know, he's very structured in everything he does, and like I said before, he feeds you a lot of information, and it is good in a way. But then Ivan's so laid back and so so straight to the point though. Like he's a really good talker, and for me, he's perfect for me because I'm obviously not the calmest guy at times, and he's a real calming influence on me. He really is, and I just really love how what he said to me. The reason that got me literally over to the Tigers, honestly, I can honestly say this is. I had a meeting with a couple of clubs and I seen Ivan and he said, look mate, I just need you to come here and be Josh Reynolds. And I just went back home and I was thinking, like at the Dogs, because me and Moses and Bai, like we weren't really halfbacks, both of us were sort of 5'8", and I was trying to sort of probably be someone I wasn't. And for him to say that, I think something in my mind just clicked and yeah, I just love that. He just says, I want you to back your instincts and play what's in front of you, and that's the way I love playing. So I thought, you know what, right, let's do it.
Mate, we're very excited to see you get out and really impact the second half of the season. Hopefully the injuries are all over. Josh, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Well, a big thank you to Josh Reynolds, aka the Grub, aka one of the nicest blokes you'll meet in the National Rugby League. A big thank you too to the Sackville Hotel. Without them, this whole project not possible. Plenty more good sports conversations to come your way shortly on the Stack Report. Make sure you subscribe, rate and review. But for now, it's goodbye.